Welcome, everybody. This is the Academy of Adoption and Assisted Reproduction Attorneys series on the different states and introducing you to our fellows in each of the states and giving you a basic introduction to the laws in those states. So today we are dealing with West Virginia. And if you could go ahead and introduce yourself, it'd be great.
Thanks, Kim. Greetings from wild and wonderful West Virginia. I am Vivian Bazdakis. I practice out of our Charleston, West Virginia office. I'm a partner with Frost Brown Todd, which is a national law firm. Happy to tell you a little bit about my practice in general. I've practiced for approximately 18 years, and over that time, I've had the opportunity to really be at the forefront of surrogacy and reproductive law in West Virginia right from the start. As part of my surrogacy practice, I represent intended parents and gestational carriers, and that's both for contract drafting and the parentage court proceedings. I'm also a fellow in the Academy for Adoption, and over these same years have assisted many families with West Virginia or interstate ICPC adoptions. In addition to surrogacy and adoption work, I'm also a commercial litigator. My practice focuses on representing business clients in a broad range of industries. Most often, these include financial services, construction, energy, First Amendment, media industries as well.
Great. All right. Well, you're definitely well-rounded. So let's talk about West Virginia in general and why people would go there. Is assisted reproduction and surrogacy generally acceptable in West Virginia?
Yes, West Virginia is a very friendly jurisdiction for surrogacy and reproductive law. It's a contract-based state, so that affords a lot of latitude for intended parents and gestational carriers. There's actually only one statute in place for surrogacy, but it makes clear that West Virginia permits gestational surrogacy and it allows for compensation and expenses in surrogacy contracts.
Okay, well, simplified but powerful, right? It does a
Right.
lot for you. That's good. All right, so then let's talk about the different categories of parents that might want to use the law. Are there any restrictions for the LGBTQ plus community?
No, no restrictions. Like I mentioned, the statute really just says it's lawful, and for that reason, it's contract based. So the contract itself will provide all of the details and the material terms. While we don't have a fully codified statute, in my opinion and in my experience, the law that we do have makes it a very friendly place for all types of arrangements that can be single or married intended parents. It can be double donors. It could be same-sex couples. Really, there are no restrictions in that regard.
Great. And I know people swimming through the Academy's website, that's kind of what they're looking at. They're looking at different states, figuring out where they can and can't go. So, one of the other questions that often comes up with intended parents is regarding the parentage process. Can they get a pre birth order versus a post birth order? People have different requirements depending on where they're coming from.
Again, Kim, it's very friendly. West Virginia courts are favorable to both pre-birth parentage orders and post-birth. And in addition, I'll add that courts are very friendly to entering in a motion to seal the entire proceeding for purposes of confidentiality. And I found that intended parents are very appreciative of that. It's almost akin to an adoption proceeding.
Wonderful. That works for a lot of people. The and one of the big things, not that it should stop anybody from going to any state, but how efficient is your vital records with birth certificates after a child's born?
Yes, this is a small state. Vital Statistics is just down the street from my office, and for better for worse for them, they hear from us plenty. They're very cooperative and provide a lot of assistance. And I'll also add they're very friendly to surrogacy. So they typically, the hospital in West Virginia has 7 days by statute to transmit the birth certificate form, the information to Vital Statistics. Once it's been received, it's usually 3 or 4 weeks, and the certified birth certificate can be available for pickup.
Okay. So it does take a little bit of time compared to some states, but you have everything else so efficient, right? And what about your orders? When you do ask for your orders from your court, are they efficient too?
They're typically entered at the time of the hearing. And in some instances, if the judge just happens to be familiar with this process and has seen, the same types of filings that we've made in other cases, sometimes the order will be entered without even requiring a hearing. But even in those instances where all parties are to appear for a hearing, they're very accommodating in terms of scheduling a remote hearing by teams, and also entering the order really at the conclusion of the hearing.
Wonderful. Well, not really any red flags or major things, but did we miss anything people really need to know about West Virginia?
No, it's, as I mentioned, it's a contract-based state, so it is very important to make sure that parties are represented independently by counsel, that the contract process is not rushed, that all the material terms are included, and that the parties are communicating well to have a good understanding of what the process will look like. But with those parameters in place, they're really a happy proceeding, and the courts are very accommodating to making sure that everything is done properly and efficiently.
Wonderful. Well, Vivian, we appreciate your time. We highly recommend all of the Academy Fellows as usual. Most people got to this information by going through our website, but if you need to write it down, the website for the Academy of Adoption and Assisted Reproduction Attorneys is adoptionart.org. And when you go to the state specific laws and you look under West Virginia, you'll be able to find Vivian's information and contact her directly. And we highly recommend that as usual. We appreciate your time today, Vivian. Thank you so
Thank
much.
thank you, Kim. My pleasure.